Hello everyone, dear student friends, I am Professor P.M.Chougala. In this episode, I am going to talk on solved case study for 10 marks on calculation of fiscal deficit for BA, BCom, B.Sc first semester, OEC Economics. Title of the paper is Pre-Reforms Indian Economy. Dear students, the model case study question in front of you here, that is, discuss the types of budget deficits and calculate deficit or fiscal deficit from the information given below. So friends, here the question, it has two parts. This is part 1 and this is part 2. See here, the part 1 asks about discuss the types of budget deficits. So first of all, we have to answer for this part, and the next part is calculate fiscal deficit from the information given below. This is second part, that is discuss later on. Okay. So look at the question A. Revenue receipts rupees 64,880 crores. B. Capital receipts in the form of recoveries of loans and liabilities rupees 9,950 crores. Okay. And C. Total expenditure rupees 2,08,520 crores. So this is about the question given. Friends, first of all, we have to realize what is budgetary deficit. Okay. See here, a budgetary deficit is referred to as the situation in which the spending is more than income. Okay. Although it is mostly used for governments. Okay. This can also be broadly applied to individuals as well businesses. See here, this is the condition of the government entities when the expenditure of the public sector exceeds or the greater than the revenue sources of the public sector. At that moment, it happens budgetary deficit. So this is known as the budgetary deficit. At this moment, the government has to face some certain challenges also. But before going to that aspect, first of all, we have to look upon the basic modalities of this concept. So types of budget deficits. Okay. Certainly there are three types of budgetary deficits. Okay. First one is fiscal deficit, second one is revenue deficit, third one is primary deficit. So friends, we will go one by one. See here, the types of budgetary deficits under this head. First type of the budgetary deficits is, that is, fiscal deficit. What is this? Fiscal deficit is defined as excess of total expenditures, over the total receipts. Okay. Excluding the borrowing in a year. In other words, this can be defined as the amount that the government needs to borrow in order to meet all expenses. Understood? So the more the fiscal deficit, the more will be the amount borrowed. Yes, obviously it happens. Okay. And fiscal deficit helps in understanding the shortfall that the government faces while paying for expenditure in the absence of lack of fund. Yes, so this is one of the very most important concept to understand. Okay, so let us understand what is the impact of fiscal deficit on the economy. It is very important to understand. Okay, the first thing is unnecessary expenditure arises. Okay, it means a high fiscal deficit leads to unnecessary expenditure done by the government that leads to potential what you call the inflationary pressure on the economy. It is very important thing. Got it? The unnecessary expenditure is must, expenditure is needed, expenditure is to be done as per our requirement, but when it will be found that is unnecessary, at that moment what happens, the velocity of circulation of money will be increases in the economy. It leads to what happens, it become cause for what, inflationary pressure on the economy. And you know that inflationary pressure, whenever the economy found some portion of the community, they may not be able to buy the things what they need actually. At that moment it creates again the chronicle problem in the economy. Okay, and second thing is printing more currency. Yes, printing more currency. This is what you call what happens in this condition. What happens, the RBI or the government intend to print additional amount of the currency and supply to the, or to meet the whatever the deficit happen in the budget or the fiscal deficit. Okay, so it going to meet this at that kind of the what you call scarcity in the what you call amount of its revenue sources. Okay, by printing the currency, but it is only temporary in order. It is not a permanent solution for the solution to what happen to fiscal deficit. Okay, yes, and then here it also known as deficit financing leads to the availability of more money in the market, leads to inflation again. It also cause for inflation. Okay, and the third thing is borrowing more will hinder the future growth of the economy. Yes, obviously as we treat individual phenomena, got it, like that the country also faces some certain the growth oriented challenges in the future days if continuously borrowing rather than producing the real what you call things in the economy. At that moment what happens, the future growth of the economy will be set back. Okay, so most of the revenue will be unutilized towards meeting debt payments. Okay, then how to measure, or the measures to remedial measures for fiscal deficit, or how to resolve such kind of the problem from the economy. The first thing is reduction in bonus. Okay, by reducing the bonuses and leave encashments and subsidies. Okay, these all things are to be reduced. Okay, alternatively it is what happen, again this what you call modalities or these kind of the measures also having their own what you call the drawbacks, but uncertainly government has to initiate such kind of the practices at that moment. Okay, and then the second thing is fiscal deficit can be reduced by the following ways. Suppose, say for example, the first one is reduce public expenditure. Okay, the apart from these aspects, the fiscal deficit, it has to be initiated by this one, reducing the public expenditure. The public sector has to reduce as much as possible unnecessary expenditure over the unnecessary things. Okay, and the fourth one is, sorry, this is to be number 1, this is to number 2, number 3. Okay, second one is increase tax to generate revenue. Yes, alternatively it has its own drawback. Okay, you know that whenever the government or the public sector increases the or the boost or enhances the tax, at that moment what happens, the purchasing power will be declined, and when the purchasing power of the public or the community declines, at that moment what happens, the economy will be again crisis. It means it face certain amount of the disinvestment or losses or the unemployment. Such kind of the practices may happen in the economy. Okay, so this is also, it means the sum of the, it means these are things are whatever we are discussing here, critical evaluation of the things. Okay, and it means just for the sake of your understanding, I put these things, increasing the tax generation revenue and reduced public expense. These are the some of the hints. Okay, alternative ways to what you call remedial measures, like remedial measures for to resolve the what you call the fiscal deficit. And third one is disinvestment of public sector units. Okay, it means to give an opportunity for the private sector, and it is to be a better thing to what you call remedial measures for the deficit finance. Okay, and to calculate deficit budget, here we have an equation, that is fiscal deficit equals to total expenditure minus total receipts borrowings. Okay, excluding borrowings. Okay, so this is equation. By following this equation, we will be able to calculate the fiscal deficit. Okay, and then revenue deficit. See here, revenue expenditure is defined as the excess of total revenue expenditure over the total revenue receipts. Okay, very simple. These all things are look like synonymous. See here, total revenue expenditure over the total or excess of the total revenue expenditure over the total revenue receipts. In other words, the shortfall of revenue receipts as compared to that of the revenue expenditure, okay, is known as revenue deficits. Revenue deficit signals to economists that the revenue earned by the government is insufficient to meet the requirement of the expenditure required for the essential government functions. Okay, the formula to be followed, that is revenue deficit equals to total revenue expenditure minus total revenue receipts. Yes, what is impact of the revenue deficit? That is the reduction in the assets. Revenue, whenever the economy, whenever the public sector faces certain challenges, that is reduction in the assets, it has what you call for meeting the shortfall in the form of revenue deficits, and government has to sell some assets. At that moment what happens, the reduction in the asset of the public sector. Okay, this is also not a good thing. And the second impact factor is that it leads to the conditions of inflation in the economy. Yes, it creates a horrible inflation condition, and some portion actually especially the backwardization of the economy or the people, they may not be able to meet the basic amenities, even some sorts of the what you call condition, especially due to the condition of the inflation in the economy. And third thing is, a larger amount of the borrowing leads to a greater debt burden on the economy. Yes, these are the some important impact of the revenue deficit. So what are the remedial measures for the revenue deficit? There are two aspects I were found. By reducing unnecessary spending, So solution is that what we got the fiscal deficit remedy is same like this. Here we have to, what happens, we have to reduce the unnecessary spending over the unnecessary things. Okay, and second thing is by rising the rate of taxes and applying new taxes wherever possible. Okay, so this is what you call the two measures to remove the what you call the revenue deficit. And here the third one is primary deficit. So what is this primary deficit? Primary deficit is said to be the fiscal deficit of the current year, okay, subtracted by the interest payments that are pending on previous borrowings. In other words, the primary deficit is the requirement of borrowing without the interest payments. Okay, so the primary deficit is the fiscal deficit of the current year subtracted by the interests, okay, that are pending on previous borrowings. Okay, in other words, the primary deficit is the requirement of borrowing without the interest payment. Okay, see the formula to calculate primary deficit, that is fiscal deficit minus interest payments. So measures to reduce the primary deficit that can be similar to steps taken reduce the fiscal deficits. Okay, as the primary deficit is any borrowings that are above the existing deficit or the borrowings. Okay, so this is how we can find the types of certain budgetary deficits. Okay, friends, now I will inserted the question paper once again here, that is the same question paper. So now we solved part 1, that is types of budget deficits, part 1 question, and now we have to be solved, that is calculate fiscal deficit from the information given below. So informations are given like this, so already we have got discussed. So just now I will move to the next part, that is the calculation part. See here, that is the revenue receipts are how much, rupees 64,880 crores, and the capital receipts in the form of recoveries of the loans and liabilities rupees 9,950 crores, and next one, total expenditure of the public sector, that is rupees 2,08,520 crores, and the equation has to be followed, that is fiscal deficit equals to total expenditure of the government. It includes capital and revenue expenditure minus total income of the government. It includes revenue receipts plus recovery of loans plus other receipts. Okay friends, see here, for your understanding of the question, once again I put forth here. See here, this is the total expenditure of the public, okay, sector, and here what happens, instead this minus, our equation will be total expenditure. So first of all, here is what, total expenditure of the government or the public sector. Okay, so how much the total expenditure, 2,08,520 crores minus see here how much, 64,000. What is the 64,000? Revenue receipts. Okay, 64,880 crores plus what is this, 9,950? This is capital receipt in the form of recoveries of loans and liabilities. Okay, that is this amount equals to, I put the similar amount here, minus you have to add these two values, 64,880 plus 9,950 equals 74,830. Okay. So therefore fiscal deficit equals to how much? 2,08,520 crores minus 74,830 crores equals to rupees 1,33,690 crores of the fiscal deficit. Got it? Fiscal deficit. Okay. So this is our result. Okay. If you answer like this, you will get out of 10 marks. Most of the students of the OEC subject who have got OEC Economics, especially the BA, BCom and B.Sc students of the who have selected pre-reforms Indian economy title, they are asking, commenting and messaging me, sir, please solve this case study. So for your understanding and for your examination preparation, I will prepare this case study. And dear student friends, I hope that you will be clearly understood this concept and go through this one. And if you are yet not subscribed to my channel, so please subscribe to get updated videos and share this video among your friends channel. And I hope you will be clearly understand. And if you, it means anybody Kannada medium students willing to opt this in Kannada language, please comment me. I will be prepared for Kannada also. Okay. So friends, thank you for watching. Wish you all the best.